And we are live. What up, players? Welcome to episode 207 of Player Life, the final live stream of 2021. Why do girls ghost and flake? Why do girls ghost and flake? The biggest question. The biggest question all guys want to know. But yeah, goddamn. The year's almost over. Almost over. The last fucking day. Last day of the year. Um, Going into 2022. Hopefully, 2022 is going to be, well, 2021 was pretty good. I think I was pretty lucky to be in Tokyo because Tokyo is Japan. Well, Japan in general is was very surprisingly well. Surprisingly, it was much yeah, it was much less authoritarian than the rest of the world. Um, yeah, I mean, crazy thing about Japan was, it was honestly not much really changed other than the mask wearing and the bullshit plexiglass and those dividers that you see in restaurants. Man, that such a complete waste. All those think of all the time and effort put in to make all those useless like dividers that don't work. They literally don't do anything. Like some bit of perspex divider just sitting on a table. What's that gonna stop? Like it's insane. Like, but I don't know. It's just such a clown world. But yeah. I mean, other than all that bullshit, I mean, you basically had your regular freedoms, um, in Japan. Like there was always like at the height of the lockdowns in Japan, like when there wasn't. I guess there kind of was at the start, but there was still some clubs open. There were still places you could go, which is pretty funny. Um, but I think there was only one. There was only one proper lockdown in Japan. Proper. I mean, well, yeah, it was, and it was in 2020, wasn't it? Yeah, it was in 2020, and then it lasted a month. It was like from May to June or something. I don't know, but other than that, it was all normal. Um, do, 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 uh, know your worth in the house says because they were using you for self validation. Yeah, that's one reason they could flake or ghost. Um, Jason L also in the house says bye bye 2021. Yeah, 2022 coming in, coming around. Um, yeah, but I don't know. Who knows what's going to happen in 2022? Who knows what kind of clownery is going to go down? But yeah, I mean, other than all the bullshit, it was a pretty good year for me. Um, Pretty good. Uh, yeah, I mean, I haven't. I wanted to go back to Ireland. I wanted to go back to visit Ireland this year, but I didn't bother just because I just didn't want to. I mean, Ireland is Ireland still has all these bullshit rules about. Yeah, they're pretty stupid with all the rules they brought in. Um, I believe you have to. A lot of places ask actually they kind of brought in the vaccine pass. A lot of places want to see your proof of vaccination to enter their establishment. So I don't want to go. I don't want to really didn't really want to go back to that. Um, might go back. Regardless, I might go back next year. I haven't been back to Ireland in since 2018. So next time I go back, I'll probably go back for like at least a month. And Know Your Worth says, "Great year for me. Good to hear, man. Great year." Uh, Jason S says, "Crypto to the moon. Crypto to the moon." Yeah, man. Crypto to the moon. Pulse X. Pulse X to the moon. X to the moon. Pulse to the moon. Yeah, I got some. Yeah, there's gonna be some. There's gonna be some trips to the moon in 2022. Hopefully, that is for sure. Know Your Worth says NYC is totalitarian. Show me your papers, Gestapo style. Yeah, I mean, sounds pretty shit, dude. I mean, does does everywhere require papers, or do some places not give a shit? Um, yeah, Know Your Worth says Pulse X rocket ready for liftoff. Yep, to the moon with that. But yeah, back to the topic at hand. Back to the topic at hand. Yeah, I mean, why do chicks ghost and flake? You know, that's the $1 million question. Why do they do it? I mean, everyone who's been involved in with chicks will understand that, like, they ghost, they flake. You know, they don't particularly respect your time. You know, I think most women, you know, like it just appears that it's pretty apparent that women respect a man's time. Well, they don't respect men's time. Um, you know, even chicks that end up coming through to meet you, a lot of time they don't respect your time. Like they'll try and reschedule, or you know they'll show up late, or they really don't care. They don't understand time. And it's, in a way, it's because they're solipsistic. They're thinking about themselves. um they're not really coming on the date thinking about you. Like, they're thinking about themselves having a good time. They're not thinking about, I mean, we're all selfish to some degree, but you know it's like, you it's funny. Females are funny. Motivated. Yeah, it says the number of chicks on street at night decreasing due to cold weather, getting more success during the day. What do you think? I mean, yeah, that's why I call myself Mac the Day Gamer. that's that's what it is. Day game is king. Day game is king. It's not easy. It's not super easy, but nothing's super easy. I mean, um, you know, I mean, I I I guess, like, if you have a really good dating profile and you're really good looking, then it's probably easy to, like, that's probably easier than day game. But uh yeah, it can be hard to. A lot of guys aren't super good looking, or super, they don't have, like, they don't have an aesthetic eye, or they can't make their profile that great. So it's yeah, but that's the only situation where it's on easy mode. If you use a dating app, and you can get a ton of matches, and you just message them and you arrange a date, and that's it. But other than that, I think day game is king. You know, for your average, I think for your average guy, day game is king. Like, if you really want to punch above your weight, and get to the hot chicks that are otherwise going to be really hard to access, you know, it's day game, cold approach. You know, it's uh, it's number one, yeah. But cold weather makes it a bit harder, yeah, because yeah, especially, you know, they're just kind of not really wanting to hang around outside. Um, uh, Motivated says, "How do you manage your work and day game?" Well, I mean, I mean, I kind of create my own schedule, but I mean, the whole thing about day game is that the thing about cold approach is you seize the opportunity. So like ideally you're not going out to do you just do day game. Like you're not going out only to do day game. It's like when you reach a certain level, it's like if you live in a city where there's a lot of women, you can kind of incorporate day games into your cold approach into your mentality, where it's like you're on your way to the gym, or you see a hot girl at the bus station, or at the convenience store. You, you get in the habit of making cold approaches in uncomfortable situations, but you get so good at it that it's not that uncomfortable. You just do it. You're always going to feel a slight bit of discomfort approaching some random girl in a spot. It's almost it's not. I've come to realize that it's not actually that it's not uncomfortable. You're not uncomfortable approaching the girl. You don't really care about what she thinks. It's what causes the discomfort is like what other people around, like you feel so kind of self-conscious about other people around you. You wouldn't really care, but it's I mean that's what causes a lot of discomfort for people in general. It's not that they're afraid to approach the girl, it's more like that they're afraid to be seen to be approaching the girl, and they're afraid to be seen to be rejected, you know. That's what a lot of guys suffer with. But you have to really not care. You just have to really like you have to bite the bullet, do the hard, just go for it regardless. Sometimes you really have to like you're doing something good when you feel uncomfortable. You're like you're putting yourself out of your comfort zone, because a lot of cold approach will feel like, especially when you're starting doing it, a cold approach will feel very uncomfortable. It'll feel very, oh, this is awkward. Like, oh, I don't, she's hot. I want to approach her, but I feel awkward about doing it. But you should just do it. You just really need to start doing it. But yeah, it's kind of sidetracking on that. But yeah, I mean, like if the idea of doing day game is, cold approach is that you do it when you see the hot girl. I mean, if you have to go to work, you have to go to work, but on your way to work, on your way home, on your lunch break. I mean, I've picked up chicks on my lunch break when I used to. I remember when I was teaching English. I used to, I'd go out to get lunch, and I I picked up, you know, I got so many numbers on my lunch break. I so many. Like, oh, it's great. Good times. Efficient. Efficiency. Yeah, I remember I used to do cold approach on my lunch break. Not like, just if I saw a hot girl on my way to get dinner, I get lunch or whatever, I'd make an approach, and compound effect. If you do that every day, or like, if you do that every day, you're gonna get some numbers, and then you're gonna turn those numbers into lays. Um, I remember one particular girl. She was like, oh my god, she was a hottie. She was yeah. Oh man, she was sexy. I was coming back from. I think I was eating. I think it was from McDonald's or something. But I was coming back from my lunch break, and I saw this girl. She was wearing these red stilettos, and like it was like, bear in mind, it's like 2 p.m. or something. Like, it's the middle of the day, but she's wearing these red stilettos and these tiny little short shorts, and this little crop top, and this like long kind of like transparent kind of white coat. Like it was just way too sexy for that time of day. But you kind of see in Tokyo, you see these kind of outrageously sexy outfits at any time of day. But yeah, so I just went up and cold approached her. I mean, I can't remember exactly what I said, but just a regular opening, like, hey, I like your style. What are you up to? She was like, oh, I'm going to work. Oh, well, let's have a drink. Yeah, I introduced myself and this, that, and the other. But anyway, the interaction lasted less than a few minutes. It was just a short. I was like, well, let's meet up sometime. Let's have a drink or something. So I exchanged numbers with her, and she came through. But I remember telling her to, I remember telling her to wear the same outfit when she came to meet me. Bit of a bold move to do, actually, but you know, when you don't really care, when you have abundance, you can get away with making bold moves. Yeah, some girls won't respond well to you telling them what to wear, but I remember I did. I told her I wanted her to wear the same outfit because it was so sexy. It was fucking hot. And she was like, "Oh, okay." And she did. She came through and she wore the same outfit. It was like it set a good you know, it set the mood. When you start talking like that, when you message them like that, they kind of know what's going on. But I was kind of surprised, but it can also work the other way. It's like, how dare you tell me what to wear? Yeah, but I mean, who cares? Um, Page Master says, Mac, how do you avoid stupid beta white knights from sabotaging your sessions? Sometimes mall security, motherly type losers, and white knights try blocking me. I mean, the only time I get white knighting is from other guys. Well, yeah, it's mostly going to be it's mostly nightlife. Nightlife. I don't think guys Rarely will guys cock block me, or random guys try and cock block me on a cold approach from day game. Although it can happen, but just stand your ground, man. Just stand your ground. I mean, it depends on the scenario, but I know it hasn't happened to me, but I know it has happened my my friends, where they'll cold approach, in Tokyo, and random stranger guys will kind of get really close, or get like start trying to interrupt, and they'll interrupt and say, "Oh, can I help you?" And that would, but in that situation, I would just say, "Yeah, I'm fine, no problem here. Just yeah, I'm talking to this girl, so yeah, I'm fine. You know, fuck off," kind of thing. Um, yeah, it's. I mean, you just have to stand your ground. If It depends on where you are. I don't know where, like, maybe you're in a different. I don't know which country you're in. Um, but yeah, white knighting is a fucking really annoying thing to happen. I mean, it happens all the time. It's worse for nightlife because men and women will white knight and cock block really hardcore, equally as bad. Like, guys are equally as bad, like, as really annoying chicks. Like, guys are like, the worst cock blocking I get is from dudes, man. Like, guys, chicks do it as well. They both, guys and girls, do it equally as bad. Butthurt beta white knight guys in bars and clubs. She's my friend. She's with me. Leave her alone. Leave her alone. They're just trying to get with her. "Oh, she's with me. You better leave her alone." It's like, yeah, remember. I don't know. Yeah, nightlife. That's the most frustrating thing. Um, that's the most frustrating thing about nightlife for me. Actually, it's the white knighting, the cock blocking. Um, yeah, I think most guys know not to. The thing about, like, yeah, women, yeah. That's why I don't go out every weekend, because it's too annoying. I go out every other weekend. I don't. I don't go out every weekend. It's far too annoying because like just the way people behave, like in any other circumstances, they'd get like they get knocked out for behaving in such a way. But yeah, you can't be knocking out everyone that tries to. You can't be knocking out everyone that tries to cock block you. You'd probably end up in jail. Probably not a good strategy. But yeah, I mean, they deserve to get knocked out. That's for sure. You know, they really do. They really do. I remember, yeah, it was last week. Some guy cock blocked me, and he put his hands on me. He was like, she's with me, and he kind of pushed me, and I was like, I just looked, stood at, I just went to him, I put my hand on his shoulder. Don't you fucking touch me. Don't fucking touch me. But and then he said, ooh, said something, but he walked away. But people just step over the line, like they just think they can do it for some reason. Like like you really need to like have patience in with nightlife. That's why I'm not a huge fan of it. I do like it sometimes. It can be fun, you know. I like the immediacy of nightlife where you can hook up like relatively quickly if you meet the right girl and she's you don't get cock blocked. Um, but yeah, there's a lot of really fucking annoying things about nightlife. Um, mm, Jason L says, I gotta get in and out quickly if security is noticing you. You've been there too long. I mean, the thing about if you're gonna go to a location, you don't want to be seen to be loitering around. If girls see you loitering around, kind of shuffling around, like if you'll kind of you'll kind of give off an air that you're doing game or you're doing pickup. Um, that's why whenever I do day game or cold approach, it's like I'm always like on the move. I'm always on the move. Very fluid, very fluid. Rolling around. Like if I do boot camp session in Tokyo, I just like have a route where I go from location to location, and whatever we see on the route, like that's what we see. We don't hang out. We don't hang around on street corners, like waiting for girls. Like you can post up, but like that's a different kind of strategy. But ideally, the ideal circumstance when you're just like en route, like you're just walking and you're just in your environment rather than just waiting around. And you see what you get what you see, or you approach what you see while you're en route. Um, that's ideal because when you're kind of hanging around, the girls will just be automatically suspicious of you. And girls are spooked easily. Girls are very spooked. They're spooked easily. It's interesting. It's kind of different strategy in a nightclub. It's kind of the opposite. In a nightclub, it's I think personally I think it's better to post up somewhere. I've talked about that before. Like in a nightclub, you kind of don't want to be seen to be bouncing to every chick. Although you can do that, but as long as the chick hasn't seen you hasn't seen you getting rejected a bunch, because it's fucking chicks are like you wouldn't, but you don't even. Well, I'm sure a lot of you guys do know, but chicks are herd creatures. Like humans are herd creatures, but like chicks are really sheepish, like really to the extreme. Like chicks are sheepish to the extreme. So it's like literally like it's all about perception with chicks. So if chicks see you getting rejected, if one chick is this chick say this chick looks at you in the bar and she thinks, oh, that guy's kind of, I hope he comes and talks to me, and then she sees you going to approach some other girls and the girls like ignoring you or not talking to you, you will go down like so much in value in her eyes, just because she saw you getting rejected. Like she saw that you're not a hot commodity. She'll like suddenly just lose attraction for you. This is how females work. And then it could be the other thing where, she could see you and not be attracted to you, and not have much interest in you. Then she sees you making some girls laugh, or she sees you like hitting it off with some, she sees you with a group of girls, or one girl, and you're making her laugh. It looks like you're having a good time with her, and she'll think, oh, like this guy, I want him too. Like that's what women are like. Understand that she'll be like, I want him too. I like him. Just because like she sees you making some girl laugh, or like, um that's how females operate. Like it really is. Um uh, Motivated says Japanese girls sometimes bullshit you. Last week I took a girl to a normal cafe on first date, and she was not happy with that. I mean, you know, it depends. Like it depends on what, maybe. I mean, some you can't please them all. I mean, that's the way it is. Like, I mean, you know, did she dress up? Was she looking hot? Did she wear like all this like sexy clothes? It depends on what the precedent was. You know, did you say you're going to take her for dinner? I mean, if there's one thing that girls don't like, and it's if you bullshit them, or lie to them, if they because then they think you're a fraud. But a lot of time I just say let's meet. I'll tell them why. I'll either say let's meet, and sometimes they don't ask why uh, why we're meeting, and that's the best sign that they're. And it's not even guaranteed. Nothing is ever guaranteed, but it's the best sign that they're probably down to fuck when they don't ask why. Like why are we meeting here, or what are we meeting for? Or are we having, some girls would be like, oh, what are we doing? Are we having dinner, or what? Or what's the, or what kind of restaurant? And that's like, oh fuck, this girl is like probably not gonna fuck, because she's too like demanding. She's like, she wants to know exactly what we're doing. But a cafe on a first date is perfectly fine. I mean, but if a girl comes through and she's like wearing like stiletto heels, and like, little, she probably wants to be taken somewhere fancier. But sometimes I'll decide when I meet the girl. Like if I meet the girl, and I meet her at the station, and she's wearing like jeans, and regular jeans, and just normal shoes, and like just really nor casual wear. Like, I'll take, yeah, cafe straight up. Like sometimes in that situation, I'll just take her straight to my apartment. I'll figure the vibe. It depends on, like I said, whether or not she was asking why, like we're meeting, and this, that, and the other. If she didn't ask anything like that, or she was just like, yeah, sure, I'll meet you 8 p.m. at this station, a lot of the time I'll just take them straight home. Um, but a lot the other most of the time it's like, you're gonna have to take them somewhere, and it's generally, for me, it's generally coffee or a drink. um you know and yeah, I'm not going to be drinking in 2022, and it was never an issue anyway. Like, even when I didn't drink from 2015 to 2019, or 2014 to 2019. But like, it was never an issue. I would still take girls for drinks. I mean, so, I mean, if you don't want to drink, like, you want to go for a drink with a girl, but you're not going to drink alcohol yourself, just, it's not an issue. Just don't make an issue out of it. Anytime, like, because if you make an issue out of it, it's an issue for it. Like, the girl will be like, oh, what. So what you do is, like, you go, and show the girl the menu. You ask her what she wants, and she chooses what she wants. And you go to a bar, and you just order her the drink. You order yourself a soft drink, whatever you want. And usually it's never even a topic of discussion. You don't even have to talk about it. Well, I mean, just own it. Even if she asks, "What are you drinking?" You just tell her, "Yeah, I'm not drinking." But yeah, just act like it's not a big like nothing. It is not a big deal anyway. So who gives a fuck? But yeah, it's never an issue. Like I don't know, but yeah, I mean, girls that act like entitled to going somewhere fancy, or they better at least be dressed fancy. Like I mean, it's fucking I've had girls in the past, yeah, where they show up and they're dressed. They're not like they're dressed like way more conservative. They're not dressed like sexy at all, and they're expecting to go somewhere like fancy. It's like what? Like how? Why? Like why? How are you coming on a date dressed like you've just come from work and you want to go to some like fancy dinner date? Like I'm not taking you on a dinner date anyway, but like if you dress like, if you dress up really, really sexy and like you want to be here, you're like, if you dress like you're trying to impress me, at least I'll take you to a fancy cocktail bar or something, you know? You know what I mean? You can take them somewhere fancy, like when you have a drink and it's not going to cost, you're not over investing. You don't want to over invest in these chicks like on the first date. So that's why like taking a girl to a cafe is perfectly fine, but generally girls like cafes. Like girls are basic bitches, so like you'll like a lot of girls like pretty much like will enjoy going to Starbucks. Like they'll enjoy like just try and make sure it's yeah, Starbucks is like perfect for like there's nothing wrong. Like girls are basic bitches. They'll be like, a lot of Japanese girls will actually will be like excited to go to Starbucks on the first, like in general, just because they're basic. You know, they're basic. They'll like it. But just I mean, if it's decent, if it's not some rundown shithole of a coffee shop, maybe it's best if it's not like a don't take them to McDonald's, like and have a coffee there, like a McCafe. Um, uh, YT510 says should have been up front. When are you free for a quick coffee? Um, you know, it's always better to be being up front. Well, you don't have to be up front, but it's like don't lie. That's what I would say. Don't lie. Never say like, "Hey, let's have dinner," and then take her for coffee. That'll piss a girl off. I mean that'll you're not probably not gonna get laid if you do that. Don't do that. Just don't lie about shit. Like if you're either say let's meet up, and let's meet up, and then just meet them, and then take a lot of time when you just say let's meet up and they don't ask why or why we're meeting up, and a lot of time that's a green light. A lot of time it is green light. Let's go back. But if you want to play it safe, if you're playing it safe, you're in safe mode. It's always you can take them for coffee first or a drink if you don't want to risk the biscuit. If you don't want to risk it for the biscuit, and just because if you can shoot your shot too soon, sometimes shoot your shot too soon. You know, you meet them and you try and take them directly to your apartment, and like they kind of can react badly sometimes to that. So if you want to build up some rapport and then walk them back to your place after, that's another way to do it. But let's see. YT510. I can understand if she thought it was a date and she got all dressed up and all you did was take her to a Starbucks. She would feel over invested. In other words, you embarrassed her. Not in Japan, man. Not in Japan. If you go to a Starbucks in Japan, you will see some hot girl. You're guaranteed to see some hot girls, especially if it's in like and I'm yeah, of course you're gonna see hot girls, but like some of them will be dressed like really like fashion models, like in Starbucks. It's ridiculous. But so Starbucks in Japan is a really good pickup spot. Really good pickup spot. Um yeah, you'll see some hotness. You'll see some sexy like yeah, but it's a little bit different in Japan, but yeah, I mean maybe in other countries. Yeah, in general, like I mean, if they get really dressed up, you might. I mean, a cocktail bar might suit it better. You know, you know, you take them for one drink. Buy them a fancy drink. You know, talk to them, build up some rapport. Figure out. Try and escalate a little bit. Try and read her, see if she's into you, and then one or two drinks are max. That's the way it is. One or two drinks, then you make your move. It is what it is, guys. You got to make your move. I remember I used to feel guilty about making my move too soon. Blue pilled as fuck. It's a savage. You got to be a savage, guys. You got to be a savage in this dating world. You got to be like you snooze, you lose on these hoes. You snooze, you lose. Like they they want to be. You have to make a move on them. Like they don't respect anything else. You know. They don't respect it. Women are unbelievably opportunistic and savage in the dating world. They are savages. It's fucking hilarious when you're on the opposite end of the on the opposite end of the beta bucks. The alpha when you're on the alpha fuck side, because I've been on the side where chicks have come from their dinner date and they've come back to my place after their dinner date. And it's like, you bad little bitches. You naughty little bitches. Um yeah, they'll do it. They will do it, man. They will absolutely, they will line up like guys get a bad rep for, players get a bad rep for lining up multiple dates. Chicks do that all the time. They do it all the time. Chicks will like, go on a date. They'll try and arrange the beta buck side for the fancy dinner meal, Yeah. And then they'll have their alpha fucks for like 9 p.m. at the fancy cocktail bar, and then or directly to his place maybe, you know, um, and this is what they do, um, uh, uh, Can Fachan says everything Mac is saying is true, but it's always better to be too bold and play it safe if you have to pick one mold of behavior. I agree. I mean, fortune favors the bold. You fortune favors the bold because you want to err on the side of being on boldness. You never want to play it too safe. Um, you never want to play it too safe because you snooze, you lose on these hills. Like, but that's why I'm very strict about like the time I spend on the actual date as well. Like when I feel the vibe, I will absolutely take them straight home. Like when I meet them at the station. But sometimes I feel like she's not gonna bite that. She's not gonna bite, this soon. So I'll take her for a drink or a coffee and build up some rapport, talk to her, and then make my move. But I'm very strict about how much time I spend. I'm gonna make my move. Don't get me wrong. Like you're gonna make your move, but it's like that's why I always say one or two drinks max. Like sometimes I wouldn't even do two drinks. It would be like one drink and then okay, let's go. I'll pay for the drinks or they'll have already been paid for, and then I'll up and say let's go for. I'll usually just say let's go for a walk, and then she'll be like, oh okay, and I'll walk directly back to my place. And that's the method I employ. I employ, and it works. It works. Not always, but it's, you know, nothing is ever going to be 100%. Motivated says, McDonald's, haha, I took her to an izakaya, and an izakaya is like a bar, basically, for anyone who doesn't know. And she was like, this is a chain izakaya. Then we went up to a middle class cafe, and she again said that this is a chain cafe. She was not all dressed up, man. I mean, this just sounds like an entitled bitch, to be honest. Like, was she Japanese? Um, she sounds very entitled. Um, I yeah, it's just red flags, man. It's red flags. I don't know, maybe she saw you, maybe she thought you were gonna just it doesn't. I don't know. I rarely get that kind of attitude from Japanese girls. Usually Japanese girls won't, they'll kind of just follow along. They're not gonna. I've had it. The only time I've had girls give me like attitude about the location where they were foreign girls. They were like, oh, I don't want to go here to this cafe. I don't want to go here, and it's like, you know. But yeah, it's interesting if she was a Japanese girl, because Japanese girls in general, um, uh, motivated says yes, Japanese in 30s. Well, that's in 30s is the red flag there. Yes, so she's probably bringing through the ringer. I bet. She probably can speak English. I bet. So she's probably yeah, she probably just has that. She's probably been on banging. She's probably been on, been with a fair few foreigners, I'd imagine, and she's probably jaded and entitled, and just fed up with shit, and just realizing she's kind of fucked. Like, um, the worst kind of attitude you'll get off is washed up Gaijin hunters. They're a different breed. Um, they're a different breed compared to the regular Japanese chicks. Young Japanese chicks in their early 20s will just, like, in my experience, will never give me stick about, look, where I'm going to take them. They'll just follow along. They'll follow on. They might not be happy with it, but they're not going to say anything about it. Like, they're going to just take what they're given, kind of shit. But yeah, the older, certainly girls in their 30s will kind of get a little bit. They're jaded. A Japanese woman is jaded when she starts, like, giving you a stick over shit right off the bat. It's like, okay, this one's not typically Japanese. But I mean, back to the topic at hand. I mean, ghosting, flaking. I mean, there there's a ton of reasons why chicks can ghost you or flake on you, or stand you up. Um, especially with day game. Um, a lot, not a lot of them, but there's a certain percentage of women that definitely will give you their number just to give you their number, like, just to, like, to be. The cold hard truth is, some girls will give you their number just to, like, get rid of you. And it can be hard to recognize that when you're just doing an in and out, the in and out technique. Like, if you talk to them a little longer, you'll figure out her interest level. But like, when you're just, like, kind of, maybe if you're in transit and you're just, like, trying to make a quick cold approach just to get the number. um Sometimes these girls will just give you their number just to, like, make it, less awkward, or, just to get rid of you, basically. That's the cold hard truth. So, like I said, it can be hard to gauge, their interest level. um so yes, these kinds of girls will leave you on red, or like, block you immediately after, um giving sending them a message. So that's an element too of day game that's kind of annoying, but it is what it is. You can, the longer you spend talking to a girl, the more you're gonna understand her interest level, just like from her vibe. Like, um, I think like there's a the longer you spend talking with the girl on the cold approach, the less likely she is to, and the less likely she is to flake. The more rapport you build up, the better impression you leave, the more likely she is to, like, reply to your message first of all, and then come through. But also, you don't want to over. I don't like over. I don't like over investing either. Like, I'm not gonna. I rarely, almost never spend over 10 minutes talking to a girl, unless I'm trying to do an immediate date. Like, unless I'm trying to take her, like, right then and there. Um, you know, I'll unless I'm trying to take her home then and there, I'm not going to spend 10 minutes talking. I can't be spending 10 minutes talking to every girl. Like, it's too much time invested. But you know, yeah. So the longer you spend, but you know, it's just part of the game. Really, you're going to deal with girls that don't reply to you, that block you. Who cares? Like, it is what it is. You're just shooting your shot. Um, and yeah, but another reason, girls can flake. Another reason a girl can flake is simply because, well, there is a possibility that something. I would say there's a 10 to 20% possibility that something came up. Something can come up. Life happens. We're all humans. So but I think it's definitely, for the most part, it's cap when girls say, "Oh, something came up," like, "Oh, like I'm busy," or like, "Oh, I have to work that day," last minute kind of shit. Generally, it's like, I'd say it's a 10 to 20% chance that it's actually true. And if it is true, a lot of the time, not always, but a lot of the time they'll tell you, like, they'll tell you that, "Oh, sorry, really sorry, something came up, but can we reschedule?" That's a sign that, yeah, maybe something did actually come up, because she's actually trying to reschedule, and like she's saying it. Um, and a sign that she's full of shit is when they don't say, "Oh, can we reschedule?" Um, but females are females; they're very solipsistic, so it is a thing. Just because she doesn't say, let's reschedule, it doesn't mean that it's over. Like, you as a man, you're gonna have to call the shots again, and lead, and say, "Okay, well, you know you can say, like, ideally you can say something like, when you have a lot of plates and when you have a lot of leads, you can say, "Okay, well, no problem, maybe some other time." And that shows that you're, like, not too invested in her. That shows that, like, you're not getting angry about it. Like, getting like getting angry and emotional and saying, "Oh, I'm gonna punish you for," like, you don't punish them, like, verbally to them. You just mentally note it, and you're like, "Okay, well, I was gonna take her to this nice cocktail bar, but actually now she's either coming home with me, or we're not going anywhere." So that's like, you don't say it to them, because if you say it to a girl, like, "Oh, like, oh, how dare you, wasting my time," and they don't care, they don't give a fuck, they're just, it's just gonna create, like, a bad vibe. And, like, the big like the best way to show that you are, like, high value is to show, like, indifference, like, "Oh, yeah, whatever, I don't care, like, I have other," yeah, just think about it like that, like, I don't, "Oh, yeah, whatever, yeah, I don't care, I have other shit going on." But you, like, in your mind, you're like, "Okay, yeah, this bitch has a strike down." Like, you strike her down, right? This bitch is like, "Okay, well, yeah, well, she's one step towards just Netflix and chill category." Um, yeah, that's the way you have to think about it. Like, because As soon as you show saltiness, it doesn't work. Like saltiness, getting salty with chicks, and like, oh, you're wasting my fucking time. Like you can do that, but just if you're gonna do it, just do it and burn the bridge because you're not gonna meet them. Like if you're gonna go that what route and get angry at them, just say "fuck you, bitch." Like you've wasted my fucking time. Go fuck yourself. Like if you're gonna do it, you might as well like don't half-ass it. Don't be like, well, you waste this my time is valuable. Like no, like either burn the bridge or like or like just say yeah whatever okay maybe some other time and then hit them up like another time but because that you can't getting emotional and trying to punish these chicks isn't doesn't yeah they're not gonna like you know if you go up to a chick and be like yo you were supposed to meet me and so you're gonna have to like pay for the date and all that and they're gonna be like no I'm not meeting this guy. I'm not gonna go and like pay for his shit. Like they're not. They have other options. Like even even fat ugly chicks have options. So just the way you win with these chicks is by like being like yeah whatever. I don't really care. Okay yeah maybe some other time. But like it's in your mind you take a mental note and you're like yeah she's relegated to this yeah as Know Your Worth says, relegated to the second division. You relegate you they go down like they're one step towards the Netflix and chill category, and it can work out. It has happened to me plenty of times before, where chicks will flake, and then it's like okay, well, I was gonna meet her and take her for coffee or but since she drew out the process even longer, and it's like so I mean, when a chick flakes, it can be a thing where it's like you don't meet them again for another couple of weeks. So it can be like from the time you met them to the time you actually meet up with them because they flaked, it can be like a month or more. So it's like, okay, well, I'm getting down to brass tacks at this point. So if they actually come through to like meet me, it's like, well, I met you. Obviously, I don't say this, but like in my mind, I'm like, well, I met you a month ago. Like, we have to get down to business here because like time is money. Obviously, you don't verbalize this, but basically, you're more cut. I'm way bolder. The longer the time period, the time frame between the cold approach or wherever I met them and the time of the date, the bolder I become. Like the more likely I am just to like try and take them directly to my place because it's like you made me wait this long. I'm not going like out of my way to take you to certainly not I don't do I'm not taking you to a fancy dinner regardless like because that's part of my strategy. I don't reward chicks with dinner dates and like right off the bat like dinner date you could see it as a reward like you take a chick out for because she let you fuck you take her to a fancy place but plus like who wants to bang on a full stomach like really you can do it is like you can it's not that you can't fuck after eating but it's like ideally you want to ideally you want to bang before eating and that's ideal like that is ideal that's why that's why I if I whenever invite chicks for like Netflix and chill or if I've ever invited chicks for dinner it's like it's going to be dinner in my place and I always try and bang before eating. That's a good yeah it's nice it's always nice to do that because you work up an appetite right you eat it's like exercise so you go and it breaks all the ice you have this great like fucking hot sex for like you work up an appetite it breaks all the ice you're like more relaxed then you can eat you can do Uber Eats even order a pizza eat the pizza watch Netflix smash during the movie. It's just way better. It's way better than to try and make your move like after eating. Um, that's a perfect date, actually. Yeah. Like, come back to my place, smash, order pizza, eat the pizza, watch a movie, fuck during the movie or after the movie. It's a good time. That's a good time. And then she fucks off. That's like that is like that is the ideal. Yeah, it's a good time. If they're really hot, I don't mind if they stay. If they're really hot and I'm really horny, I don't mind. Um, Sometimes I want them to leave, but uh, I definitely want them to leave if they're like, yeah, meh, yeah. But Spark55 says, "Hey Mac, how do you go about approaching a pair of girls and wanting to pick up both of them?" I mean, picking up two girls is gonna be it's that's never gonna be that's never gonna be easy. But I mean, if you're gonna go that route, you gotta flirt with both of them. Um, you can flirt with both of them. I mean, I've done it before in night game, where it's cold approach to two girls, and just start asking them what they're up to. Like, basically, it's like you're talking to one girl, basically. So you treat them both equally, you flirt with both of them equally, and you offer to take them for a drink after flirting with them for a bit. Um, but yeah, it's always gonna be harder with two girls because you have to get the approval of two girls. Um, you know, uh, that's how I would say it. Flirt with both of them equally, treat them as one entity. Um, but yeah, why do girls ghost? I mean, girls ghost you basically because something better came along, or in their eyes, like stay something that they perceive to be better came along. That's just the way it is. Like, you know, it just that's the cold hard truth of it. Like, they believe that they found something better, like, something else came along, um, and that's what happens. They'll ghost you. That they've moved on to something else. Um, so just either a chick ghosts you or she doesn't. Just don't overthink it. Don't like don't overthink it. Um, you know what I found that has worked for me in the past, when the chick has, if I've ever gotten a number like from night game, night game, or even cold approach sometimes. This is why I have the three strike rule. So, on Thursday, I don't know, Tuesday night, I was out. I was out doing a bit of game. Actually, I was supposed to meet a chick, and she flaked. She flaked on Tuesday night. She said, what did she say? She said some bullshit excuse. Like, she was like, "Oh, my," what she said? Yeah, she said, "Oh, there was some trouble at my work. Um, I have to go in early tomorrow morning because there was trouble at my work." Something like that. Some garbage excuse. So I was like, "Okay, yeah, whatever." So it is what it is. You know, she probably, something that she perceived to be better came along. What there's a 10 to 20% chance that it's true. I would say, you know, I would say it's bullshit. Really, probably she was going to meet another guy. But fuck her. So I went out. I was free, so I was like, she flaked kind of last an hour before, so I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna go out and do some game. And I went out, and you know, I was doing some cold approach, um, getting some numbers, and then I was just looking at my messages because I was like, it was fucking cold out, and I was like, shit, I'm gonna do I call it a Hail Mary. And you just hit up a bunch of girls that you did, that you have a bunch of girls that you whose contacts you have gotten. And there was a girl from last week that I met out, and I basically, it's the 3 strike rule. So I had messaged her twice before, and she had left me on red. She didn't reply. So what you can do, like, and it's the third strike and you're out. Where after the third time, I pretty much give up. So just give up, just cut them off. But what has worked for me plenty of times before is I send a photo of myself and say, hey, do you remember me? And that's it. And then like she replied immediately, like, and said, oh yeah, I remember you. Because sometimes these girls don't, especially from nightlife, like these girls don't remember you. Like they especially if they were drinking, like they'll, if you're messaging them and they don't, they're like, oh, I don't know who this guy is. And then, but if you send a photo of yourself, like as kind of like, hey, do you remember me? And she replied back immediately. And long story short, I ended up meeting her and going back to her place and smashing, which was kind of unusual because I very, very rarely end up going back to a girl's place, especially in Japan. Like girls taking me back to their place, like on, like for like for like a one night stand is super rare. Yeah, it's like Japanese girls don't do that usually, so it's they got to be like really into you to do that, to take you back to theirs. But yeah, it was weird because I was trying to get her back to my place, and she was like, no way, no, I'm not coming back. And I was like, well, let's go back to your place. And she was like, okay. It's like, okay, it's kind of strange. Like usually, like I said, Japanese girls in particular are usually like, yeah, they don't bring straight like random guys back to their places. But yeah, it's kind of like going to a chick's place, because then I can leave at any time. It's kind of annoying when, but sometimes it's annoying when like when you bring a chick over, she's kind of there, and you have to like, especially like she has to stay over and shit. But when you go to their place, you can leave whenever you want and just get out. But yeah, it was a good time. So yeah, that's just a little tip if you want to if you're trying to, like, if you think the girl maybe if she ghosted your messages or left you on red, sometimes you just send a photo of yourself and just say, hey, you don't remember me, and see what they say. It's worked in the past. I don't think she would have responded if I had just sent her another message. But since she saw who I was and she said, oh, I remember that guy, or if it's a good photo. But yeah, I mean, ghosting and flaking, it's part of the game, man. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. You just have to have rules in place, ways to deal with it, and just keep sourcing other girls. Like women are basically, they're just doing it. Actually, let's just look at I'm gonna share something from a female perspective. Let's see what they have to say about it.
Guys. Well, I think one of the main reasons is excitement. I think one of on guys. Why do women flake on guys? Well, I think one of the main reasons is excitement. I think if you're just going to meet someone in a pub, there's not that much motivation to go. So I think they need to step it up a bit.
Yeah, definitely. I think sometimes men talk about themselves too much. You don't share the same interests, maybe. It's just haven't got that, like, they might be physically attractive, but might not be like mentally stimulated by them.
I think it's because, or personally, I do it because you don't want to say no to the number, but you're not actually interested in the first place, and then you kind of flake afterwards because you don't actually want to meet that guy.
Well, I feel like the reason with flakes.
And this is what I mean by girls not giving a fuck about a man's time. Like, girl, this is how solipsistic. Like, this is. I don't want to sound like too much like black pill about chicks, but it has to be said. Like, women are extremely, in general, really don't give a fuck about a man's time. Like this chick.
To meet that guy. Well, I feel.
you don't actually want to. You kind of flake afterwards because in the first place, and then you kind of flake afterwards because.
So she's saying she didn't want to give the number in the first place, but she continues to message him and then flakes. Like, why not? Why not? See, women like attention. This guy looks like a potato. Facts, man, facts. Yeah, I mean, it's just fucking. But there is a dark side. It has to be understood that there is a dark side to female nature. Like there is, like obviously, like we're all men. Like we love women, but there's also a side to women that is not very. It's like it's not all love. Let's just say that. Like, and I think that's healthy because you can't be going around and say, "Oh, I love all women. They're all so sweet. They're all perfect. They're all angels." And they're not. Like, they're not all perfect angels. There's a really dark, solipsistic side to women. Like, it is a fact. Like, you can't be like, "Oh, women are like." You can't be fully on the black pill side, and you can't be fully on the fucking, the blue pill white knight simp side. You have to find middle ground where it's like it's a love hate relationship. Really. Like,
you don't actually want to meet that guy.
Well, I feel like the reason we flake sometimes could be confidence. So we wake up, we feel really confident, we're excited for our date. At the end of the day, we're just like, nah, he might not be the right one for me, and I'm gonna go home, and like I'm feeling insecure today. Something might have happened at work that you just feel like, nah, I'm gonna go back home, and like I just want to go to bed or like catch up with my friends. I feel just like confidence on how you feel on the day. So something could have happened to you throughout the day that you just feel like, nah, this is not going to work for me.
Cheesy chat up line.
But yeah, women just aren't as fucking motivated to fuck as men. This feminists and shit like that will argue, oh, women are just as horny as men. They're beta males as well will argue that as well. No, women are not as horny as men. They're not. Like it has to be accepted. Like they're just not. Like the world would be way overpopulated if they were. Like, I'm not saying women don't like sex. They do like sex, but it has to be under the right circumstances with the right guy. And women can be very horny, but it's just they don't operate in the same way as men do. Like I always like a healthy horny man should be like he's pretty much ready to go every day. Like every day he's like, yeah, hot woman, yes, I want to fuck her, absolutely, 100%. Women are like, oh, I'm tired. Oh, like they have to be switched on. Like they're just not walking around looking to fuck like men are. Like it's just they're not. Anyone who says they are, they're fucking deluded. It's just not reality. They're not. So that's why they'll flake. They'll wake up one day and be like, they're supposed to go on a date, and like they'll flake just because they're not in the mood, or they're 0% horny. Like they're not, you know. And it is what it is. That's why some girls some chicks will go on a date with zero intention of fucking, like zero intention. Like she'll have no intention. I'm not gonna sleep with this guy, no way. But she goes and she ends up meeting the guy, and the guy has mad game, and she's really attracted to him, and he turns her on, he makes her horny, she gets wet, and then she ends up fucking him. This is how females operate. Some females will absolutely go on a date with no intention of having sex. Like, no, I'm just gonna go on a date with him, and this, that, and the other. And she'll go on the date, like I said, and she'll get turned on, and she'll be like, okay, I'll just go back to his, just see, and she'll end up having sex. That's the way they operate.
Yeah, really embarrassing. Such a turn off.
Don't do it.
Okay, so whenever they approach you and you might give them your number, but you'll flake out on going on a date with them because of the chat up line, or what's kind of some of the reason?
Yeah, they seem normal, and then.
See how bitchy women are? See, this is why you can't be like 100% like, oh, all women are sweet and perfect. And look at these. So they'll go and waste a man's time just for the sake of it. Like they'll go, and even though they don't like his chat up line, they'll take his number, they'll agree to go on a date with him, and then flake on it. Like just instead of just not like just saying sorry, I have a boyfriend or something. This is why women was that future. This is why women deserve less. I love that. I love that meme. That's why women deserve less. This time. They'll waste your time. It's part of the game, guys. It's not nice, but it is what it is.
And they text you and it's like, no, you're weird.
You weren't like that when I met you.
Maybe because if you've literally just seen them the night before and they text you straight away, it might be a bit annoying. You might just want to break for a week or so.
A bit like overburdening, like you don't really know how to act because you don't know them well enough, so you wouldn't.
It's not annoying to message a girl immediately. It's annoying to message them too much. That's what I think she means. It's like in fact, you should always in fact, I always message a girl just out of practicality, message a girl after getting the contact. At least uh, it doesn't have to be a question even. I'll just send like a sticker or it was nice to meet you, like immediately, just so I have to, because in line, well, we use line in Japan, so if you don't send them, they'll get lost in your contacts. You're not gonna, because you're not. Sometimes you can lose the contact if you don't send a message when you add their contact, and that's one of the reasons I do it. But what she means is like, what's annoying, what could be annoying is if you message them too much, like right away, like you you start asking them questions and shit right after meeting them. That'll be annoying.
Know what to do.
In front of them.
I think guys can sometimes be a bit intense when they ask you to go on a date, and sometimes they just need to be a bit more chilled about it. I think that's one of the problems I have.
Well, it depends on the circumstance.
So there's another valid point. You know, the more the thirstier you come off, the less attractive these chicks are gonna be. It has to be like a nonchalant, like, oh yeah, let's just meet up, let's just do it, whenever you're free, let's hang out. That's especially with the younger chicks. Like with the younger chicks, it has to be super nonchalant, like really, let's hang out. 18 to 22, I say stuff like, let's hang out, let's get a coffee sometime, let's just, let's chill. Like there's different ways to play it. There's different ways to skin a cat. But yeah, you come across as being too thirsty, then the chicks, that doesn't work for most chicks. Like that's why I always say, like, that's why you need a regular. Men need a regular, even if she's not even that hot, because you can always find a new hotter. The better you get at it, you can eventually get hotter regulars. You can find there's nothing to stop you finding a hotter regular, but like when you're having sex regularly, you'll give off a less of a needy, like desperate vibe, to be honest. And it'll be easier to like genuinely, it'll be easier to not have to fake it, It's hard to fake that. Like when you're thirsty as a man and you haven't had sex in a while, you start to get that resentment, and it can be very hard to mask that. So like even if you're getting sex once a week, you'll you'll be much more chilled out as a man. Like you'll be, and in turn you'll have more success with other girls that you try and pick up. It's just how it works. And it's like, the rich get richer, the poor get poorer. Very unequal. It's like, yeah, but it is what it is.
This is how we met and how he got his number. If it's in a club.
I mean, when you wake up the next morning, you just feel completely different. If it's on the streets and the guy got the guts to come up to you and ask for your number, I mean, I think he stands more chances to carry on with the chatting and texting.
It was more.
See what she said? She said there's more chance from the streets. Like, dude, like, cold approach is king, man. It really is. Like, these chicks want to be cold approach. Don't listen to all these fucking dickheads on the mainstream media. All these fucking CNN dickheads. Like, they game, like, it really does work. Women want to be approached. They just don't want to be approached by the wrong guy. Or the guy that they're not attracted to. Like, you just gotta become a hot dude and approach girls on the street. Yeah, yeah, man, you just cannot listen to all this fucking, oh, you're harassing women, oh, you're bothering women. No, you're not. Like they're never coming to you. Like women are never gonna cold approach you. Like even if like even if you're really good looking, you might get some fucking masculine bitches that will approach you. Like, but in general, women are not gonna approach you. Like, I mean, I know friends and that are objectively pretty good looking guys. Like they sometimes get approached, but it's like by girls that they're not interested in, and they're like masculine and desperate. When a girl approaches a man, it comes off as being desperate. Like it's unattractive. Like girls don't want to do it. Like, and even when those girls do approach a guy, it's like it's out of desperation. Like it's purely desperate. So this girl said it. Like she said, and she's just being honest. Like she says cold approach works. Like it works. There's more of a chance. You just get access to way hotter girls from cold approach. Like there's no barriers like with cold approach in day game. It's like approaching like a 10 out of 10 like in a nightclub is so much different to approaching a 10 out of 10 in a cafe cold approach day game kind of situation. You just have a way better chance because every fucking guy in the nightclub is trying to do cold approach to that. Every guy in the nightclub is trying to approach the 10 out of 10, but in day game not many guys are trying to cold approach her.
And texting. It was more if they sent a message that made me
feel uneasy. So or they called and they said something really, off, and you kind of go, yeah, I'm not going to go out with you.
Ooh, it sounds like you might have an example of what went wrong.
No, I can't remember what they said, but they said something that was really dodgy. And I was like, okay, alone with you? No, I don't really want to. I'll go in public. But then he was very, very adamant about being alone. So I was like, I've never met you in my life. I'm like, no.
Yeah, I think probably their approach, if they come on a bit too strong, it might be a bit off-putting, I feel.
I agree. I don't really.
Yeah, that's why, like, in general, as a rule of thumb, like, the only time in general I start sexting before having sex with a girl is, in general, as a rule of thumb, I won't do it. But the only time I will do it is when I use the dating apps. When it's like very obvious, or like it's just like when you just really don't give a fuck. But in general, you don't want to like. In general, I don't sext or bring up the topic of sex before having sex with a girl. Like it's just, and that's not playing it safe. It's just like the reason is because girls can get in their thoughts about it like too much. Like they can overthink it, so maybe even they might even reciprocate the sexting for a bit, but then like when it comes to like trying to meet them, they'll back out of it, or they'll flake because like the expectation of sex is too high, or like it's like, and then they'll like, oh god, oh no, they just overthink it and then they'll flake. They'll be more likely to flake. So I would say just try and fuck, but just try and meet them. Just try and arrange a date and meet them before, by being too explicit in your messaging. Don't I would say don't go. It's not that you can't flirt, but don't delve right into the topic of fucking them like before you've met them.
Really flake on guys, to be honest. I think that's a bit harsh, but I think once you have.
I guarantee she's flaked on some guys. she says it's a bit harsh, and it is harsh. It is fucking harsh. And not only do girls flake, they stand guys up. They do all that shit.
Like met them, we've approached them once before.
Then if they're not so strong or like forward, then maybe it's like easier for a girl to like meet again.
So our investigation is complete. So boys, why?
All right. Yeah, so there you have it. I mean, like day game works. I mean, it does work. They want to be approached. It's pretty simple. A lot of it's very common sense kind of shit. Like, do as many cold approaches as possible. Stack up numbers. Don't get weird in the messages. Don't try. Don't. I would say don't start trying to. Don't turn the topic too sexual before meeting them. Yeah, no, it should be more about just logistics, and sometimes girls will like try and find out a bit about you, and I would say be very stingy giving out too much information about yourself before you meet them. Always say like, maybe you can answer some questions that they, make them work for it, but I always say, let's get to know each other when we meet, kind of thing. Because sometimes girls can be asking too many questions, like over messages. And be like, what do you do? Where are you from? Endless questions. It's like, I want to get to know you on a date. I don't want to, let's meet for coffee. Let's hang out. So yeah, just try and get to know them before, and then once you meet them, just try and establish some rapport, escalate, and then bring them home. But yeah, guys, I'm gonna go and do my last workout of the year. So yeah, it's been a good year. Hope you all have a good New Year's. As usual, like, comment, subscribe if you haven't done so already, and I will catch you guys in 2022 for another episode of Player Life. So until then, guys, have a good one. Peace out. Bye bye.